And in New York, the jury is hearing testimony now from Cassie Ventura's former best friend, Kerry Morgan, in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial. That's where we're headed. Outside the courthouse is Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft. Before we get to the latest witness, let's start with Dawn Richard. How did that end? Last we checked in with you, Kelly, the gloves were off. The defense was on the attack.
Hey there, Ted and Julia. The gloves definitely were off. And after I did my last hit for Court TV, I made my way back into the federal courthouse. And as I was making my way inside, that's when Dawn was walking outside. So I was very close with her. She was standing there with her counsel. They were walking very slowly and chit-chatting back and forth very softly about her testimony. And as I mentioned, I would not have wanted to be her on the stand, especially under cross-examination. So after my last hit, then we had the redirect. So what they tried to do, what the federal prosecutors tried to do on redirect, is to clean up some of that testimony, talking about exactly what was the context surrounding you, again, reaching out to Sean Combs after you had witnessed several altercations between him and Cassie Ventura. Why were you reaching out? And she was indicating that she was reaching out because a friend of hers, the former member of the band that she was in, that was that Diddy Dirty Money that she was in with Sean Combs, it was a trio, and she said her friend had wanted to get that band back together again. So that is why she was reaching out to Sean Combs. So that was kind of how that was handled on the redirect, the recross, back again, asking, so you were afraid for your life, you thought Sean Combs was going to kill you, but yet you continued to reach out to him. She had to say yes.
Riveting testimony, Kelly. Let's talk about who's on the stand right now. Kerry Morgan, a longtime, really childhood almost friend of Cassie Ventura, and now no longer her friend. What can you tell us about that testimony and how it's starting out?
Interesting start to her testimony, Julia, because she got on the stand. So she met Cassie when they were 15. Cassie was 15. She was 16. They began modeling with one another. She talked about her confidence, how Cassie was very confident and proud and had a spark. But eventually she lost that, she said, when she began to date Sean Combs. One of the things that was interesting right out of the gate is the federal prosecutor was asking her if she wanted to be there to provide testimony. She said, no. Why are you here? Because I was subpoenaed. Really, why don't you really talk to Cassie anymore? Because she asked if she still talked to Cassie. She said, no, we haven't spoken since 2018. And the reason why, she said, because I moved on with my life and I finally was able to get away from them and their problems. So this witness has not yet testified about an assault that took place on her from Sean Combs. So what she is going to be testifying to eventually is she's going to talk about being assaulted by Sean Combs with a hanger. We're not there yet, but what she has testified to so far are two incidents of domestic abuse that she said she witnessed between Sean Combs and Cassie, in which Sean Combs was dragging Cassie by the hair. He would punch her, hit her. She talked about 2 times, one in Los Angeles as well as in Jamaica, and a time when she had to, as well as Cassie, had to leave the house in LA, go hide. They laid down on the concrete by some steps, waiting for the situation to calm down. So another witness who is describing the situation, the volatile situation between Sean Combs and Cassie Ventura. She also testified to her talking to a security guard for Sean Combs, Ruben is his name, and saying to Ruben, basically, you should do something about this, indicating that you should do something about this violence we're watching between Sean Combs and how he's beating Cassie. And he basically indicated to her, according to his testimony, I'm not going to do anything about it.
Man. What drama inside that courtroom. Kelly Craft, she'll be back next hour with another update. Kelly, thank you. Let's get back into the federal courthouse there. Alan Kagawa is watching along with us. He's in the San Francisco Bay Area, up in Martinez in the East Bay. Alan, this is your life scenario for Sean Combs. A lot of defendants go through it. But is this sex trafficking? Is this human trafficking, which is the root of the charges against him by the federal government? It's obvious abuse and it's horrific behavior. Is the government proving their case?
You're right here that there's obvious abuse. There's a lot of absolutely terrible domestic violence, and it's clear that there's a bad temper. But at this point, I'm not fully convinced that sex trafficking has been established. There's a couple ways to essentially try to force people to do things. One is by force, but another one is essentially what's known as a bit of a psychological coercion. Basically, someone feels trapped. What I'm getting here is like there were aspects of force. I'm getting that the government may be trying to establish psychological coercion as well. As of this point, I'm not fully sure if the government has shown sex trafficking. Definitely domestic violence, but I'll have to listen for more.
And that's what the defense argues in this case, that yes, this was domestic violence, but this was not sex trafficking, Alan. Let's talk about Kerry Morgan on the stand. She's someone who separated herself from Cassie and from Sean Combs. Her being a former friend, someone who hasn't even spoken to Cassie Ventura in all of these years, how much does that help the credibility of her testimony in front of this jury?
That certainly helps her credibility. The fact that they are not, close friends, have talked recently, shows potentially a lack of bias. Oftentimes, jurors will consider the testimony of someone who's a close friend or family member, or some that they've seen right recently as having, a bit of a desire to help the person. Here, the fact that they haven't really talked in 3 years helps her credibility.